Thank you, Your Excellencies, my dear brothers, heads of state and government here with us, Your Excellencies, heads of delegations, let me especially appreciate the presence of the chairperson of the African Union, the president of the AU, and the president of ECOWAS. Dear Excellencies, members of the diplomatic corps, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Today, as our nation marks its first 100 years, we look back with gratitude to God and with pride in our citizens. We look forward also to the future with hope and confidence. In this hall and beyond, I am delighted to welcome many of our past, current, and future leaders, as well as our friends and partners from near and far, persons and nations that have stood with us in times past, and whose friendship we will continue to cherish in the years to come. It is my unique honor and privilege to welcome you all to this conference, a shared moment to celebrate the 100 years of the Nigerian nation and for profound reflection on our challenges and our opportunities as a continent. Your Excellencies, only 1 year ago in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Africa celebrated 50 years of the establishment of the Organization of African Unity, now the African Union. On that occasion, African leaders reflected on our history and on the state of our union, and we committed ourselves to building a new Africa which will usher in greater peace, security, and prosperity for our peoples. But as I address you today, I have a heavy heart. Only 2 days ago, terrorists invaded a secondary school and murdered innocent children in Yobe State, one of our states. While they slept, the children, the hopes of their parents, and the future leaders of our dear nation had their hopes and dreams snuffed out, leaving behind grieving families, schoolmates, communities, and a sad nation. Our prayers and thoughts are with their families at this difficult moment of loss. This gruesome and mindless act of savagery is not Nigerian. It is not African. Let me assure all Nigerians that we will spare no resource in bringing those murderers to justice. As a nation whose fate and destiny are inextricably linked to that of the continent, Nigeria recognizes the opportunity of the moment, and particularly that this is a place and time to reflect on this theme of our centenary conference, human security, peace and development, an agenda for the 21st century. There's no doubt that Africa is rising. Today, 7 of the fastest growing economies in the world are in Africa. Investment in the continent by Africans in the diaspora bears testimony to the increased level of confidence in our continent. The rising middle class and greater penetration of information and communication technologies, combined with a fast expanding financial services sector, are all pointers to a better future. But we must secure this bright future. To do so, we must seriously address the issues of human security, peace, and development. Your Excellencies, as you well know, the issues of human security and peace are indispensable in the life of every nation. For far too long, in many parts of the world, especially in our continent, governments had placed much emphasis on the security of the state, and our very scarce resources were committed to military and regime security at the expense of human security. We recognize human security as encompassing firm guarantees for human rights and good governance that translates into expanded opportunities for economic security, food security, health and education security, environmental security, and personal and community security. A firm commitment to human security holds the promise of an end to persistent conflicts, insecurity, poverty, disease, terrorism, and other scourges that undermine the attainment of our dreams. We must emphasize that human security and peace are intertwined. Peace is not just the absence of violence or war. Peace encompasses every aspect of social tranquility and well-being. The peace we strive for is a state marked by the absence of severe human want and avoidable fear. In our lifetime, this peace is attainable in our nations and in our continent. However, Your Excellencies, we must strengthen existing mechanisms for national and international conflict management and create new avenues for cooperation within and between our peoples and our nations. Your Excellencies and dear friends, I firmly share the view that if we stay focused and work together, we can make this 21st century the African century, a century where all our children will have enough to eat, a century where all our children will be in schools, a century where economic growth and prosperity touches all, regardless of gender, regardless of gender, economic, political status, ethnic or religious affinity. For this to be achieved, our development must be people-centered, people-driven, and anchored on human security. Your Excellencies, the current state of human security, peace and development in our dear continent presents a picture of hope as well as challenges. For over a decade, Africa has consolidated on its democracy, and many countries have exited military dictatorship. There is now a heightened commitment to the tenets of good governance and the rule of law. Nigeria has always sought security, peace, and development. We are steadily developing a strong and vibrant democracy. There is enthusiasm and there is a commitment and robust participation across the nation with a purposeful government and active opposition parties. This was clearly expressed in the last national elections held in 2011, which received wide national and international acclaim and was adjudged the freest and fairest ever in our nation's history. But as our nations grow and as Africa grows, we must address some fundamental challenges to our human security, peace, and development. Terrorism, which is a global menace, has extended its tentacles to Africa and indeed in Nigeria. In concert with our regional and global partners, we will continue to respond strategically and decisively to this scourge, and together with our people, we shall end the killings and bring terrorism to an end. Your Excellencies, let us work together across boundaries, not only to coordinate and strengthen our defenses, but also to address any socio-economic roots on which these extreme ideologies thrive. Terrorism must be condemned in the strongest possible terms. We all must work together, collectively,